Today we're going to talk about the carbs. My handy dandy pointer here, hopefully. Um, so, a couple things first. I recorded everything, taking it apart with my hand, holding most of it, doing all the work. So the camera angle was terrible. So I changed the camera angle today so we can talk about this a little bit. Um, what I'd like to do is kind of explain carbs for somebody that doesn't know them. And I'm going to explain them to what I understand and what I know, which is not perfect. If you understand the basics of them or kind of how they work, I think it's easier to tear into them and get them fixed or clean them yourself, even if it's on something other than a motorcycle or a vehicle. All right. So the gist of it is air comes through this side, goes into the engine this side. You have to have fuel. Okay. This case, we have fuel line comes in here. And in the bottom, these are the float bowls. So they're going to sit like this in this bowl in the bottom. All right. That has a float in it that will allow it to only come to a certain level, and then it'll shut it off with that little valve. Fuel is in here. Next, you've got a couple stages of the life cycle of this carb when you're running. Okay. You've got your idle jet, which is for idle. You have your needle valve and jet, which are for as the throttle opens. So you're going to, when that happens, that needle jet is pulling up from down. It's coming up in here. This slide goes up and down, which moves that needle. And that needle then more or less fuel and air being mixed as you need it. All right. The main jet is going to give you even more fuel at the higher RPM range as well. And then on this case, we have an accelerator pump, which is from the bottom here, would sit right here on one side of the carb. And what it's going to do is when we hit that, it is going to hit a lever when we go to full wide open throttle, and it's just going to put raw fuel into the venturi here. When you accelerate quickly, you're going to get a big burst of air. So you need that added fuel to keep your bike running and going. So there's lots of other little ins and outs of the carbs, but the whole idea is fuel into the venturi here, and then it mixes air and fuel at different levels to get you fuel as a mist into your engine at the right time with your timing and your intake. So if you have the right nozzles, which in this case, everything seems stock, so I'm not going to mess with what Honda's done. I'm not changing the bike either. So I'm not changing the exhaust. I'm not changing the airbox, nothing like that. So I'm going to keep stock settings, but I'm going to make sure they're clean. And then what that should allow me to do is have the right mixture of fuel and air at the right time. These have to be synced together as close as you can get them. So that way, when you open to wide open throttle, it's not just giving fuel to one side, it's giving fuel equally to both. So then that's why these are tied together. That's why the engine, as you've got the intake on both sides, you're getting the fuel you need on both because they both share the same settings, the same process. So as long as you can get these clean and back to factory standards, you shouldn't have any other issues. Now you're just worried about valve timing and all those other things, making sure the intake opens, fuel's available, sucks the fuel in, that mist that you get from here, and you're good to go running. And obviously, the more throttle you have, the more fuel you need, and that's where all of this comes into play. Pretty neat process. It's way more in-depth than that, but that's how I understand them. The only thing I'm not 100% sure on that I'm still learning are these diaphragms here. And my understanding, these diaphragms that go here are air cutoff valves. And I think what those are for is as you decelerate, you need less air to mix with the fuel so you don't get the pops, so you don't get like a lean or rich condition This helps to maintain all that through all these little spots. So as you decelerate, the air is cut off to allow more fuel. Correct me if I'm wrong. Comment, please. Let me know. I've got more research to do on these diaphragms and these air cutoff valves. But, you know, I would encourage anybody, whether you've got a generator, whether you've got a snowblower, an old little mini bike, whatever it may be that's got carbs on it, tear into them. It's fine. You're not going to hurt anything. Put it back together just like you got it, and you're good to go. But that's the basics of how this works in my mind. I guess one more thing to talk about is at choke on a cold engine. So this is wide open for air to come through from the air box in. When you choke these, you're cutting off some of the air. You're only allowing air through certain small portions of this, which give you more fuel to have a richer start in the beginning until you warm the engine up. Then you can back the choke off, more air, more fuel, more throttle. There we go. Okay. And this is all happening constantly, right? With the throttle. All right. So if you got anything else to add, if that helped you kind of understand, let me know. I'm not perfect once again, but man, if I can just encourage one other person to get out there and do something like this, it's all worth it to me. So if I can do it, you can do it. I'm not going to take the linkage apart here. There's no need for me to do this right now. Like I said in the previous video, if I get that into it, these springs and things, if I take this apart and I break something, I don't really have a replacement for this. You can kind of see here already how this throttle, I think this is the push side, is bent in right here. So I don't want to bend that a ton, but I do want to open that up a little bit if I can. But there is a piece in there that is bent. It's things like that. If I was to break that off while taking it apart, putting it together, things like that, I don't have any replacement parts. I don't have another set of GL650 carbs. I do have CX500 carbs, but they are different. So I am going to clean this with all the linkages, and then afterwards we'll blow air through everything, and we will make sure that every hole and orifice that we can get to is flowing air through, and then we'll also run carbon throttle body cleaner through it as well. That's always fun to do as well. But we're going to make sure that everything flows like it's supposed to, and get these things clean, clean, clean. I'm going to do a couple cycles in the mix of the heavy duty citrus degreaser from Zepp, and let's just run those through, and then I'll show you what I do with the smaller pieces as well. All right, so we're going to go ahead and put the body back in here like we did the other day. Okay. And that is fully submerged there. And then what I do with the small stuff. So I found that some of the small jars float to the top, and then the lid will twist off. So I did find that a mason jar with a lid works really good. So what we'll do, we don't have to fill this all the way up. We're just going to dip this in and get some of this mixture. All right, and then we'll start with the right side. There's a couple things I won't put in, like I don't want to get this spring all damaged, so we won't do that. The nylon or the plastic, whatever this material is here, not too worried about that either. I can clean that up with a brush. Same with the floats. I'm not going to put those into the heat, but the plates, obviously that diaphragm needs to be replaced, that air cutoff valve, but everything else, screws included, needle valve, pen, all of this, I will not put this plastic piece in either, but this plastic piece will just be just fine. The plug is hard, but what we'll do is we'll see if maybe this will soften it up a little bit. Okay, so dropping all those in. The broken piece, we don't need to do that. That's okay. All right, so then I will just put these in, let them sit, float around. They got holes in the lid, so we'll let everything out. So that was one side. So I will do the same with the other side. I can get this. There we go. Let me know if there's something you do different. If you found something that's better to hold all this stuff while it's cleaning, but I found that the glass jars are perfectly fine. I'm just taking out those pieces. The accelerator pump diaphragm, I'll leave that out as well. And screw, but the rest of it can go in. Same with the spring for the accelerator pump. I'll keep that out just so it doesn't get bent or damaged or anything. Other than that, all of that can go in. That's the right side. Same thing there. And then, not too worried. Let me know if you would be, but actually they're marked. So we'll do 17.1 will be green, 17.2 will be white. Drop those in. See if these have markings as well. All right, the slides, I don't see any markings on those. These should be fine either way. As long as they slide freely, I think we're in good shape. So not too worried about those left and right. And the bowls. Okay, all the gaskets are out. No O-rings or anything left. So we'll drop those in. These are different. So you got the one with the accelerator pump and then you've got the regular one on the other side. All right, so that's about 60 degrees Celsius, which we came out was 140. And we're gonna run full wave for 10 minutes and see what happens there.